Hey guys, what's going on? Got another video for you. This one's going to tackle probably the biggest Strider question ever asked out there. You see this question all over the forums, you see it posted in videos and just asked all over the place, and that is, are Striders worth the money? Well, in this video I am going to kind of go through my opinion on what I think the answer is. Obviously, I think they are. That's why I have 3 of them right here and plan on getting more, and have owned multiple ones in the past. But before I delve into it, let's take a look at the ones I've got here. So this is my orange SNG right here with the stonewash titanium on the back, stonewash blade. This one here, making its debut on my better camera, is the SMF cracked ice Tonto. Really like this one. And my favorite knife in my collection, and I've actually had this one for quite a while since getting into higher end knives, is my Mixed Strider Custom GB, sculpted titanium on the back, Nightmare Grind, sculpted G10. Okay, first off, are they worth the money? Let's take a look at materials. I mean, obviously you've got higher end steels, S30V, S35, S110, S90, things like that, that are used in Strider knives, bulk of which are S30V now. Really nothing too crazy for the knife world, but definitely, worth noting that they use high quality steel. It uses thick slabs of titanium, which is obviously, expensive, and expensive to manufacture and to deal with. G10, heat treated pivots and pins and things like that. So all the basic materials, they're good quality materials. But beyond that, you've got the manufacturing process. Things like water jet cutting out the blades instead of using a laser to preserve the steel integrity. Using a huge piece of G10 and milling it out so that it's one piece instead of taking the cheaper route of using 2 pieces of G10 with a backspacer. One thing that I've heard Dwayne say is that first and foremost, their emphasis is on the knives, not the price. So if they're going into manufacturing a knife, they're not thinking, okay, how do we get the price point here? What manufacturing changes do we need to make to get this price to this point? Or what do we want this knife to be priced at? That comes after. Their first priority is, how do we make the best knife we possibly can? And then based on how expensive that is to do, determines the price after the fact. So their first primary concern is not the pricing. It's the quality of the product. And that's their MO. That's how they run their business. There's plenty of companies out there that don't do that. They say, well, this is an awesome knife, but it's, we think it's too expensive to manufacture and we'll have to charge more than we think people are going to want to pay. So we'll make some changes, we'll cut some corners, change some materials, change the manufacturing to get it to the price point that we decided would be best for this particular knife. There's plenty of companies out there, and there's other companies that follow this model as well. I'm just saying that is kind of what separates a higher tier knife company from kind of a lower one, is what their priorities are, what they put first, whether it's cost or just making the knife and letting the cost be what it is. Second of all, what really sets Strider knives apart is their warranty. And I don't like to call it a warranty. It's more like a service plan that you purchase when you buy their blades. Lots of companies have warranties against manufacturing defects. If you get it and the blade falls off, you can send it back and they'll exchange it or fix it or whatever, usually within a certain time period. Strider knives are guaranteed for life, barring any specific intentional destruction of the knife or modification of the knife. But if you use that knife and it develops any sort of problem, if it wears out, you can send it in, they will take care of it and get a working knife back to you. That doesn't mean they're going to put a new finish on it and make it all bright and shiny, and if you get a scratch in the G10, replace the G10. No. It means you are guaranteed to have a functional Strider knife when you purchase one. So in theory, that means one life, one knife. You could buy a Strider knife and it could serve you your entire life without ever having to buy another one. I think a lot of people kind of overlook that. And I usually like to use analogies when trying to explain something, of that nature. And could you imagine if a tire company came out with a deal like that, where they said, if you buy tires from us and those tires wear out in 5 years, send it back in, we'll get you working tires back on your car for the rest of your life. Could you imagine that? I mean, that would be huge. It'd be all over the newspaper. It'd be all over the news. People would be going insane to buy tires that you can send in and they'll retread or, whatever they need to do to get you tires back on your car working. Whether you drive over something or they just wear out. If they were to give you tires the rest of your life, that would be insane. But that's what Strider does. That's what they offer. If you have a problem, if the lock bar wears out and you get blade play, send it in and they'll fix it. You'll get a knife back without blade play. If your knife cracks, send it in. You'll get a new knife back. If you break the tip off, send it in. They'll either replace the blade or sharpen it away, depending on the severity. So that is truly, that's amazing that they're willing to offer that. Third point I wanted to talk about is pride of ownership. And that's a big deal, and that's really the most subjective part of this whole thing. There's a few things they offer that you just can't argue with. Okay, yeah, high quality, they stand behind their product, the warranty, things like that. But here's where the subjectivity comes in, right? Pride of ownership. Some people, that's a huge deal for them. Other people, it's not. They don't care. They don't care if they stand behind the company. They don't care if the company has a really awesome community behind it. They don't care if the people that are into this product are just awesome people. They don't care about that. They just care about the thing, the actual thing. How much is it? What's it made out of? How does it work? And that's all they care about. And for people like that, yeah, they're probably not going to want to fork out the money for a Strider. But for people that take pride in what they own and they're, they feel good having a product like this in their pocket. They feel good about the people behind it. They feel good about the people they can talk to about their passion for this particular product. It is important. And in a lot of ways, it's kind of, once again, going to the analogy thing. It's kind of like a sculpture. You can buy a sculpture, a one-of-a-kind from an artist and pay a lot of money for it. Or you could pay a few bucks for a casting of it. At the end of the day, it's going to look the same sitting in your house. You are really going to be the only one that knows that this is an original or this is a casting, and if that matters to you, then it matters to you. If it doesn't, it doesn't. If all you cared about is how that would look in your house and you want to get it for the cheapest cost possible, then okay, that's how you are. But if you want an original piece of art that you can take pride in every time you look at it, knowing that the artist made this made this sculpture just for you, or is one of a kind, or whatever the case may be, then you fall into that category, which is more in line with Striders. Or even just higher end knives in general. This kind of speaks to customs and higher end knives and things like that. It's just pride of ownership, being happy about what you have, and being excited to show it off and talk about it. And the last point I kind of wanted to touch on is there's just, at least for me, there's just something special about these knives, something really cool. The first time I saw it is actually here on YouTube. It was on Darkchild's channel. I'll probably put a link down to his channel. I'm sure you guys already subscribed. But he showed off an SNG double gunner grip with a black oxide blade. And prior to that, I'd never even known Striders existed. And it really blew my mind because I immediately, wanted to find this blade, see how much it is, this, and that. And so I went to the usual haunts, Knife Center, Knife Works, stuff like that. It's not on there. I couldn't wrap my melon around it. I'm like, why can't I just find this knife on Amazon or on eBay or whatever? When I did finally track one down, saw the price, I was like, oh, that's crazy. No, I'm going to pay for that. I was in that boat early on. But there's just something about that knife, the design, the thought process behind it, the mentality behind it that just stuck with me over the years until I finally, took that path and never looked back. So, yeah, so that's it, guys. That's my opinion on Strider knives and why they're worth the money. Wow, I guess my camera shuts off after a certain amount of time. That's pretty lame. But yeah, so anyways, that's my philosophy on why some people might not want to buy a Strider and some people would. I think generally speaking, if you're asking that question, you know, it's not like you're going to pick up one of these knives and all of a sudden it's going to just blow your mind. I don't know. It's hard to explain. There's just so much more behind Strider knives and similar knives. You can't really just conclusively say, you know, it's worth the money because of this point, and this point, and this point. There's a lot of different factors involved and a lot of things you just really can't put into words. But I think they're just awesome. I really like them, and I think I'll like them for a long time. Alright guys, I've went on way too long. I'll talk to you guys later.